Krishna, everyone. So here I am again on my lonesome, but don't worry, this is the last one. Don't worry, he'll be back in the next one. So let's see, we're Canto 4, Chapter 17, Text 12, chapter entitled Maharaj Prithu becomes angry at the earth. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Text 12. After hearing this lamentation and seeing the pitiable condition of the citizens, King Prithu contemplated this matter for a long time to see if he could find out the underlying causes. Text 13. Having arrived at a conclusion, the king took up his bow and arrow and aimed them at the earth, exactly like Lord Shiva, who destroys the whole world out of anger. Purport. King Prithu found out the cause for the scarcity of food grains. He could understand that it was not the people's fault, for they were not lazy in executing their duties. Rather, the earth was not producing sufficient food grains. This indicates that the earth can produce sufficiently if everything is properly arranged. But sometimes the earth can refuse to produce food grains for various reasons. The theory that there is a scarcity of food grains due to an increase of population is not a very sound theory. There are other causes that enable the earth to produce profusely or to stop producing. King Prithu found out the proper causes and took the necessary steps immediately. So what stood out for me immediately there? Well, first of all, actually what stood out, because in text 12 it says that King Prithu he heard the lamentation and the citizens appealing to him, and they're very upset and they're hungry, they're starving, and it says the king contemplated this matter for a long time. So, and it's interesting. It's this concept of, maybe some of you have heard of it, of if something occurs to you, and something occurs to us all the time in terms of conversations we have, situations that we're confronted with, behaviors. There's a difference between, I'm going to get this right now, there's a difference between responding and reacting. There's a difference. And to just say bark at someone or be quite harsh or be like and to be able to have a sense of like sense control, mind control, emotions controlled, where I can observe and the situation, I don't feel controlled by someone else's interactions, positive or negative, especially most times negative, and therefore we do react. But I can observe, and even if that means having to pause, whether that's for a few seconds, few minutes, it may even be that you receive a text message or email or someone says something to you, and you have enough strength to say, I'll have to get back to you on that. So that's what it reminded me of, that a lot of times we just react, we attack, as it were, verbally or that. So King Prithu, however, he paused and he contemplated, and it says he did this for a long time, and he's thinking, okay, what's going on? What's occurring here? And then he came to a conclusion, because he's drawing on the mode of goodness and beyond, obviously in his case, and it's not coming from, say, a mode of passion, say anger, or a mode of ignorance and passion, anger, or just wanting to immediately, say, defend even. I mean, he could become defensive and say, well, why are you coming to me? Why don't you get out in the fields? Or why don't you do this? Get a job. So he actually, he evoked the mode of, for me it felt like the mode of goodness by actually pausing and thinking, what's going on? And then if you look in text 13, the purport, Prabhupada says, the theory that there is a scarcity of food grains due to an increase of population is not a very sound theory. And I thought, that's very interesting and could even get controversial. We're not a controversial channel, as a kid. But because that philosophy, that mindset is very common. It's nothing new, and unfortunately sometimes attributed to immigrants. Oh, people coming in, they're taking this from us, they're taking that, and just generally people who have large families, and definition of large family would differ. But someone who has, I don't know, 3, 4 more kids, it's like, oh, actually I just saw something on social media, like you do. Someone just had, oh gosh, I think it was the 11th child. 11th. I'm trying to think now, oh my god. At least, it was the 11th child, I believe 10 or 11th. And they have a social media account, and they're just sharing their joy. It's their account. And it's interesting, unfortunately, as it is on social media, people get very rude and negative and critical. And there was a lot of those sort of comments. And in their defense, other people were saying, but they're not on benefits, they're not on state benefits, government benefits. They have a business, the husband works. They don't take anything, as it were. They provide fully for their family. And so what does it matter? And then you have, two big families, taking up resources, this, like, in this way, this sort of mentality, too many people, there are people starving or this. But as Prabhupada says, it's not based on that. The earth can provide, I think one of the words used is profusely. The earth can provide for everyone. And there are other reasons why the earth may withdraw and stop. Quite deeper reasons, beyond just, there's too many people. Like, the earth needs help. The earth needs help in providing. Like, we know anything about the earth and where the earth came from, really, let's be honest. I mean, we do, because we learn from the Sastra, but my point is generally. So I just thought that was really good, because that's a definite theory that's always coming up. But okay, text 14. When the earth saw that King Prithu was taking his bow and arrows to kill her, she became very much afraid and began to tremble. She then began to flee exactly like a deer, which runs very swiftly when followed by a hunter. Being afraid of King Prithu, she took the shape of a cow and began to run. Purport. Just as a mother produces various children, both male and female, the womb of Mother Earth produces all kinds of living entities in various shapes. Thus, it is possible for Mother Earth to take on innumerable shapes. At this time, in order to avoid the wrath of King Prithu, she took the shape of a cow. Since a cow is never to be killed, Mother Earth thought it wise to take the shape of a cow in order to avoid King Prithu's arrows. King Prithu, however, could understand this fact, and therefore he did not stop chasing the cow-shaped earth. Wow. First of all, there's a lot here. First of all, the earth can, what is that term? Like, I think it's in sci-fi, shapeshift. I think it's a science fiction term, shapeshift, if that makes sense. So basically changed into the shape of a cow and then ran away. And it's actually, well, first of all, it's interesting, as Prabhupada points out, cows, maybe obviously not nowadays, it's changing, it has changed definitely, but cows are revered and are respected, and it was understood, you don't kill a cow, you just don't kill a cow. But maybe a little bit controversially, King Prithu still chases this cow-shaped earth because he understands the reasons as to why this what this cow is and why it's running away, but interested to see how that's perceived by those that may not understand that at the time. I mean, so yeah, interesting that the earth decides to just run away because she was scared. Okay. Text 15. Seeing this, Maharaj Prithu became very angry, and his eyes became as red as the early morning sun. Placing an arrow on his bow, he chased the cow-shaped earth wherever she would run. Text 16. The cow-shaped earth ran here and there in outer space between the heavenly planets and the earth, and wherever she ran, the king chased her with his bow and arrows. Text 17. Just as a man cannot escape the cruel hands of death, the cow-shaped earth could not escape the hands of the son of Vena. At length the earth, fearful, her heart aggrieved, turned back in helplessness. Text 18. Addressing the great opulent King Prithu as the knower of religious principles and shelter of the surrendered, she said, "Please save me. You are the protector of all living entities. Now you are situated as the king of this planet." Purport. The cow-shaped earth addressed King Prithu as Dharma Gyan, which refers to one who knows the principles of religion. The principles of religion dictate that a woman, a cow, a child, a brahmana, and an old man must be given all protection by the king or anyone else. Consequently, Mother Earth took the shape of a cow. She was also a woman. Thus she appealed to the king as one who knows the principles of religion. Religious principles also dictate that one is not to be killed if he surrenders. She reminded King Prithu that not only was he an incarnation of God, but he was situated as the king of the earth as well. Therefore his duty was to excuse her. Wow, a lot there. So when the earth realized she couldn't outrun King Prithu and was scared, I mean, he's running after her with he's running after her with his bow and arrow, and I guess he's going to kill her and do something. So she surrenders, which is interesting. She surrenders and takes the humble, submissive position and says, "I take shelter, and of you I accept that you are senior, higher position, and so protect me." It's like, yeah, I guess if you're in a war or something and someone on the other side puts down their weapons and just drops to the ground on their knees, then the chivalrous thing or the honourable thing to do would be to take them into your shelter, into your protection. Accept, okay, you've surrendered, okay, come to this side now, and because you've come to this side, meaning your side, then you now have my shelter. Interesting. So that's what she does, and she appeals to the king as a learned person, and therefore who understands that actually you can't hurt a woman, a cow, a child, a brahmana, and an old man. You can't do that. So there you go, and I am fitting into at least one or whatever categories. Is a cow-shaped earth, but yeah. So she appeals to that, and also appeals to the higher nature of him being a empowered or an incarnation form of the Lord. So therefore asking, please excuse me, please do your duty, which is also interesting, because unfortunately, as we see in this day and age, this isn't always followed. It's very sad. There's wars, and then sometimes what you hear post the wars is, sometimes it feels it's worse than the actual war, in terms of how people were treated when they were captured or surrendered, how people, and I'm not talking about going back like hundreds of years. I'm not recent without naming any wars. Getting controversial, but it's quite scary. It's quite disturbing what things come out, how people were treated, and it's justified by governments as well in the form of, well, we needed information, or they did it so we did it, or whatever. And you think, oh. So sometimes it sounds worse actually, but here we can see that the actual the rules of engagement, as it were, is that if someone in opposition does surrender, you take them in, and you don't just take them in by not killing them, like you don't kill them because they've surrendered, but you actually give them shelter. That's quite interesting. You actually give them shelter because now you are under my protection, whereas just 5 minutes ago we were both fighting, facing each other and throwing weapons and doing this. So that's actually actual how can we put it, the chivalrous, I don't know if chivalry is the right word, but just the, and maybe gentleman isn't, but I'm going to use it, but the gentleman way of fighting, as it were. There is a certain, it's not just barbaric fighting for the sake of fighting. I thought that was interesting. I'm going to stop now, and like I said, don't worry, next reading, my partner that will normally sit there will be back and have plenty to say. You all know that. I'm going to go now. It is time for the Sunday Feast program, and where I am, high up in an apartment block, would you believe it, just my luck, the lift, or here they call it the elevator, the lift, is not working, so I got to walk down the stairs. Walking down the stairs is one thing, but I am dreading walking back up the stairs on the floor that we're on. So, oh my goodness. So I'm going to make a head start on those stairs, and I'll see you next time. Hare Krishna.